Hello, my friends. Once again, it's time to get down to the brass tacks on Starfield, the brand new space exploration RPG with first person shooter mechanics from Bethesda. Is it breathtaking? Yes, I personally think it is breathtaking. Albeit not perfect, it's the experience that I've been wanting for a while now. From this company, from this system, from the entire video game industry. This is what I've wanted for a minute. And by a minute, I mean a long damn time. Now, the other question is it worth your money? That's a really simple question with a complicated answer. And the reason is maybe you're not into space exploration in this fashion. Maybe you're not into the first person shooter mechanics or the deep RPG elements and stories threading out and leading in different ways. Maybe you're not into that. Maybe there's something wrong with the presentation or the graphics or any of that. My suggestion would be to try it before you buy it, but absolutely give it a try. No exceptions. This game is something that is so deep and thought provoking that it's going to last a long damn time. I've already been playing it for about 75 hours or so. And my character is what I wanted to talk about today, because while we could get to the ins and the outs of the gameplay and the different loops and different story tie ins, different characters, different weaponry, I wanted to start from a significant point. The point of creation, where I decided who my character was and where I wanted them to go. I decided to be a space scoundrel. That's my background. It's pretty much someone who's in between the cracks of good and evil. Am I evil? Depends on the time of day and what I'm feeling. Am I good? Typically, you're going to get on my good side, as long as the credits and the XP make sense. You see what I'm saying? Someone who sits in the gray area. I like this character because not only do I get to stand on both sides and get the best benefit from both crowds, if I'm working for this faction and I decide, hey, I'm going to go over here and let this faction know about this, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm not a space pirate, but at the same time, I'm not a space peacekeeper. I am the cowboy, but I'm not exactly someone who's going to save the day. Between the good, the bad, and the ugly, I'm probably the ugly. And this run has been so thought provoking and fascinating to me that I have been live streaming it and putting on the show for I don't know how long. It is fantastic, and my character here is pretty unique, I would say, but that's another thing. It's like everyone is pretty unique in this game, and I'd like to show off my character and what I wanted from this. So when I first started playing Starfield, I didn't have an exact idea of what direction my character was going to take, but I definitely wanted to play both sides, good and evil. In between the cracks of these is this character. I gotta say, man, I like playing both sides to get the benefit of XP, credits, rewards. Either way, I feel like it's impacted everything I've done so far. Sometimes you can bring up in conversation that you're a badass who doesn't care, a space scoundrel. I love seeing a reaction from an NPC when I come into a conversation and I say, you know what? I am playing both sides. I am this guy. It's not something I planned for, but damn, it has unfolded in that way. And also, another thing that I didn't plan for, but it's unfolded in a beautiful fucking way, is the weaponry, the ancient tech. This spacesuit, as a matter of fact, is grandmother's spacesuit, as in grand's spacesuit. These things are old tech. The AK here, old tech. I like it when they have this ancient weaponry still in the game. Still, all these years later, you've got pistols, shotguns, this AK. It's like there is some retro tech here that I love to take advantage of, and damn, there is such a long list of weaponry that, yeah, you can basically pick and choose what you want to do here. This game is full of it. Maybe lacking a little on sniper rifles, but we'll talk more specifics on weapons later. But my character here pretty much started out with pistol certification, piloting, and persuasion. These categories here are most important to me because sometimes violence isn't the answer. Sometimes talking is the answer. Sometimes flying the hell away is the way to go. But right now, what I'm most prominent in is the tech category, the tech skill tree. It feels like I benefit from that most because I'm traveling a lot. I've got a lot of pirates tracking me. I've also got the wanted trait, which bounty hunters will occasionally show up and demand either money or my head. And I love that. I can actually pay off my own bounty to remove the trait completely, which I don't want to do that. Sometimes I want bounty hunters to show up and test my prowess, my skill when it comes to this first person shooter. That feels really good, by the way. And also, what feels good in this game, surprisingly, isn't just the pistols, the shotguns, the ballistic weaponry, which also has a skill tree of its own. When we get right down to it, this game has great weapons across the board. When it comes to the lasers, I'm not so much a guy who leans in that direction. I don't like plasma rifles or photon guns or any shit like this. But what I do like in this game is that you have the ability to choose these weapons, and they are actually effective. They're really effective, as a matter of fact. The higher brand you choose in this game, when it comes to, I think, the Nova Light pistol. Here, actually, let me just take a look immediately. Yeah, here it is, the particle beam. There's such a wide range of weapons and certifications you can get for weapons in this game. It's magnificent to see that Fallout 4, what they did there, has expanded. It's been upgraded. If you liked customizing weapons in that game, you're going to love it in this game as well. And when it gets right down to it, maybe I will upgrade the particle beam category at some point, but for now, everything ballistic is the direction I'm going. I just like a classic lead flying situation in games. I don't know another way to say it. But when it comes to piloting the ship, when it comes to doing all of these maneuvers and boosting away or powering up your grav drive or targeting other ships, I found the tech category to be important as hell, if not completely essential. Another skill in the tech category you guys will definitely want to take advantage of is security, because there is a ton of lockpicking in this game. There's a ton of computer hacking in this game if you go that route. And typically, you will have to go that route at some point. It's just a simple matter of fact that in the future, people still have locks on everything. And there's always someone who's going to pick those locks, right? Well, this character's not all about that, but I do like to lean into every craft just a little bit as this character. Not so much creating science projects, but more so criminal enterprises, going the route of making illegitimate cash. And a lot of these skills help that out. In fact, one of my favorite skills in the entire tree that I have was persuasion. Starting out with persuasion is almost essential. There are a few essentials here I'll go over for sure, but persuasion, hell yes. You want to be able to talk your way out of situations. This will allow that much easier. And in fact, if you upgrade it and go beyond to negotiation, you'll be able to bribe your way out of situations. And sometimes negotiation comes into the conversation as well. It's not just, oh, I'm paying you 40,000 credits to let me walk away. No, sometimes it's like you bring out your negotiation skill and you prove to them right off the bat that you've got that skill. It's a beautiful thing to see happen in a Bethesda game. Creating your character means something. This game brings your skills into a bunch of conversations randomly, all the time. It's like crazy. But when we get right down to it, I'm going to keep it moving forward. I wouldn't say theft is an essential skill trait in this game, but absolutely it seems to be on my run. Because oftentimes I am having to pickpocket people that I don't really care to pickpocket. It's part of the mission structure, or it's part of the next step in conquering this task. I don't want to say any spoilers, so really when it gets down to it, it matters to you on your run depending on what your character's doing, what route you're taking. You don't have to work for every organization in this game, but I do like playing every organization that I can on my first run. if possible. And then we branch out and be more specific on other runs, like an evil run, which this doesn't lean in either direction. And that's the point that I'm making. I can lean either way that I want to, given the importance of the situation, given the task at hand. Really, I love the fact that there's such a broad skill tree here. Some people are complaining about it. I couldn't care less about the complaints because I'm having a good time enjoying the challenges, which some of the time, yeah, to upgrade to the next rank, you'll need to complete a challenge. I don't see a problem with that. Typically, I'll have completed the challenge before I even knew it happened. Anyway, moving forward on my skills, I wanted to make sure that I was good at commerce and able to get more credits because the name of this game, realistically, is resources, ammo, credits. Maybe not in that particular order, but typically these things will run out constantly. Your resources when you're building a base, your credits when you're buying a bunch of firearms, and your ammo when you're using all the firearms. That's as simple as that. And typically I will run out of ammo and health packs and shit like that more than anything. So ahead of time, I would suggest getting good at commerce. And as a matter of fact, there's something else on the list here. Ah, yes, scavenging. Super important that you pick this early on if possible, because you'll be finding more loot in crates. You'll be finding more ammo if you upgrade it, more credits and whatnot. And this is massively important because, like I said, everything's so limited. You got to keep it flowing. You got to keep the ammo, the resources, everything flowing. Credits, especially, because you can always buy more, right? You can always buy more medicine, more ammunition. It's as simple as that. Moving forward, there is one perk that people are kind of upset with and immediately say, oh, why is this even here? You basically need this immediately. Well, that's kind of why it's at the first tree. You fill your pockets faster in Starfield than it feels like any other Bethesda game. If you loot an entire ship in this game, you will fill your pockets immediately. You will find that whether it's resources, medicine, food, any of that, you're going to be filling your pockets, and damn, you will be weighed down. Now, there are ways around this, but I do suggest if you're going to fill your pockets and not really think too much about the loot you're grabbing, the weightlifting perk is absolutely necessary. But at the same time, you gotta think, does this loot even matter? Sometimes people carry like just an entire arsenal of weaponry, and it's like, do you really need all of that? Do you need every category filled to the maximum? Do you need every inventory slot to be a weapon? No, you don't. Do you need all of this junk? Do you need to pick up everything? God, no. There are a ton of pieces of loot in this game, more than I've ever seen, as a matter of fact. It's just a matter of what are you doing with it? Are you crafting weapons? Are you trying to build an entire base? Because when you're trying to build an outpost, yeah, I could see you filling your pockets and walking around encumbered a lot. Which I like that you can run and walk encumbered in this game, no problem. It's just your CO2 gauge starts going up. And, well, we all know what happens when that happens. Oxygen, baby. You want to breathe. So, on this run, I wasn't going to go the stealth route because I've literally gone stealth in every Bethesda game. But now that I've gotten deeper, I do see a purpose behind stealth, more so than I would in Fallout. This game doesn't have VATS, which is kind of, unusual. I'm used to having VATS and having an option where I can pause the gameplay and, go in and get a couple slices or something. But at the same time, I'm prepared without it. Simply upgrading your character in different directions is enough to solve any equation for the most part. And stealth is no exception in this game. I suggest going the stealth route if you're that character. But now that I've started working at certain places in this game, like Ryujin Industries, there's some sneaking in there. So I wanted to be prominent at sneaking. I wanted to have enough sneaking skill so I just could get past certain guards. I'm not trying to go this route entirely, but it is there for those who want it. Very similar to any other Fallout, Skyrim experience. One thing I will say, man, is the gymnastics trait feels almost useless. It is so strange to see a character slide in one of these games. It feels very unusual. So the final skill tree I wanted to talk about, and the least important to this run in particular, but probably very important on my next run, is the science category, where you learn deeper about the universe, you learn more about how to travel faster, farther, which that's what I'm in for in this category. Astrodynamics, you can grav jump farther with less fuel. So you can just basically go farther without having to hop to different systems. You can just go straight to that system. And I really feel this is important early on, but I don't know about the other categories of the science situation. Like studying rocks. Yeah, I already scan plenty of rocks and do all of this. That's not the direction I'm taking with this character. It's more of a violent slash social run. That's really what I've gotten out of it so far. I probably will invest some points into the medicine category because that seems like something I'm having trouble with. I have a ton of problems keeping supplies in my pack, and I think maybe if I got better use out of what I had, maybe I wouldn't need as much. So that seems like a direction to go. But like I was saying, I find the science category to not be this particular run's method, but I do see a reason for it, like working on better outposts. And yeah, you can look through the trees and guide yourself different directions instead of just going blindly saying, oh, I want all the weapons to be upgraded. I want my combat class to be filled out completely. Now you can look ahead and kind of track what run you're going to be on. Next time, I do think I want some research science run where my character's just this big brain solving everything without too much violence. But of course, keeping a bunch of science weapons in their pack, why not? But this has been my explanation of the character. As far as what I've said so far, I think I've covered most things. I wanted to talk today about my character a little deeper and the traits that actually matter when it comes to my character's reactions, decisions, people who interact with me. It's stunning to see this happen in a Bethesda RPG. But I guess I should have expected it because they're pretty much the best of what they do. Who else is better, honestly? So when we get down to it, I'll right off the bat say kid stuff is the best trait. Your parents give you things. They give you gifts. They visit you at your place of employment. They visit you at places you might not expect. You might run into them in certain spots. And it's so cool. They have conversations with you. They have conversations with each other. And as far as I can tell, my father definitely looks like me in the face. I don't see the resemblance to my mother, but I don't know. It's an NPC, so what can you say? Absolutely, what I can say is this, that it's touching, it's meaningful, it's powerful, and there's a lot of comedy there as well. They give you things, so make sure you remember that. There are rewards for having parents in Starfield. At the same time, it does cost money. You have to send them, what, 280 to 400 credits, something like that? Man, oh man, it's worth it. Let me just say that. Keep playing the game and get further into it. Another character trait that's come into play very, very often, and almost every time I land on a planet has me looking over my shoulder, is wanted. Somebody has put a bounty out on my head. For some reason or another, it's all quite mysterious. And I feel this is probably one of the most prominent traits because, damn, imagine being tracked relentlessly by a bunch of bounty hunters who pretty much take nothing as the answer except credits or death. When we get right down to it, I was tracked the first time I noticed this trait worked. They were literally sneaking beneath my ship and following me to my location, to my destination, as a matter of fact. They snuck up on me, which is something I've never had really in a Bethesda game as far as I can remember. Literally 5 guys sneaking up on me that's crazy. That's insane. But that's what happens when you're wanted in this game. My third trait was kind of an accident, raised universal. When I had looked up the trait online before I started my playthrough on Starfield, it had the opposite definition to it. I thought it was atheism in space. No, this is God in space, as in raised under the universal sanctum or sanctum universum, I think it is. And you believe God is out there in space and you're searching for God. I didn't mean to choose this. I meant to go the other direction, but it's also impacted my run greatly. Sometimes you'll run into someone who's also raised universal, and they'll be very kind and giving and try and either give you some emotional support, sometimes even financial support. So that's pretty wild. But either way, they're searching for God in the universe and they have this idea that there's something out there and we're kind of looking for it in a way that we're supposed to look in space. And I find it interesting and compelling, and it definitely impacts the game. How much we'll see as we move forward because I haven't visited the official church yet in this game. As far as the other traits, I'm looking forward to trying Adoring Fan, which just seems outright hilarious. And there was another one, Alien Blood, or something like that. Either way, I'm having a great time in Starfield, and I can't wait to play more. Hopefully, on my next run, I'm going to go totally science and totally big brain, but we'll see. I'm not entirely sure, but I can't wait to check out the rest of the traits. Thanks for tuning in and getting down to the details. Until next time, ta ta.